Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Morgan and bid you all welcome back to Gothic II. It's a little Easter egg that I actually never knew about on that tree there. I think I finally saw it on the wiki that I don't know how to pronounce. But it wasn't really clear on where exactly it was. So I had to do a bit of snooping. But, nice little shout out to the fan community that unfortunately kinda isn't really around anymore. I mean, the World of Gothic forums still exist. I'm sure the non-English faces of it are still being updated somewhat. But not so much us folk who speak the King's English. Oh well. It's why I spend time here trying to keep it alive, and once again I've got my notes hidden instead of on screen, but unfortunately half of my notes got deleted anyway. Oh damn it, there was a whole joke I was gonna do up there. So I should have had my notes up. So anyway, we gotta get ourselves into the Temple of Adenos and finally deal with Raven once and for all. So let's take a little shortcut. Oh, Swamp Golem. Oh, that didn't work. Alright. Oh, why have I done that? Good lord. It's a terrible start. Well. Don't know why it didn't work. Fascinating. So, not while recording, I found that it was actually possible, not even possible, I couldn't avoid it, to slide up backwards, back up the hill. And that was going to be a whole additional joke part of this intro. But somehow having the recording on probably screws with that. I figured it was something to do with frame rate, because there's a lot of weird physics bugs in this game, given that it had a kind of unprecedented rudimentary physics engine. But the physics kind of go haywire when you increase the frame rate. So I think natively these games actually ran at less than 30. But I'm not sure why it didn't work, given that game only runs at 60 when I play it, but now that I think about it, maybe it actually runs higher than that. I only see it at 60 because that's the refresh rate of my monitor. So above that, it seems that sliding down hills works backwards. You know, if I can get a recording, it doesn't affect the frame rate, maybe I'll show that off. Well, there's going to be a whole joke where I jumped down the cliff, saw the golem, and retreated back up the hill in the same sliding animation. And I thought it was going to be hilarious. But it didn't work out. Well, whatever. Let's not waste any more time. So we have to get into the temple and try and find out how these, these colored stone tablets can help us out in there. Now, I had notes on which ones I needed to use in which order, because the color coding doesn't really have any real logic to know which one you need to use first. You have to go by the text, and the text is a little wonky because, well, it's not really consistent with the order in which you encounter the traps. But we'll discuss that as we get in there. So here's the door. That raven slammed in our face. But we know the magic word.
Jahedra Akantar.
And that's it. For some reason, it's always bugged me how we don't go straight through the door. There's a weird angle that this hallway takes to get inside. Whoa. I always thought the music in here was quite atmospheric. I quite enjoy it. It's one of a few situations where they really only have music to a specific area. I don't know why I said that. Let's cut that out. So, here we are. Luckily, this colossal stone sentinel telling us to slow our roll. It's not hostile. Now, what you'll find is that there are 5 buttons on the wall on this side. On the other side, a singular button. This one's an odd one, because I'm pretty sure this is just here to be an epic troll. If you touch this button, you might think it would open one of these doors. It don't. If you're thinking there must be a trick behind that, I assure you there is not. Because if you actually were to use cheats or something to clip through these apparent doors, there is absolutely nothing behind them. Just an empty void. But anyway, we have these 5 here. As you can well imagine, pressing them in an unspecified order would yield a very similar outcome to the last one. So, gotta be careful. We, the last 3 leaders of the Council of 5, have provided the chambers of the temple with traps and hidden the entrance so that the sword will never again see the light of day. So believe it or not, this is the clue for the first trap. And the clue kinda takes some going over a few times to really understand it. But the keywords here are 3 leaders, traps, light of day. We see 3 fellows who look, well, kinda same profile as the Stone Sentinels. But evidently the Stone Sentinels were kinda made in the visage of the Builder's civilization. Headdress and everything. So we, 3 whoever's, set the traps so that the sword will never again see the light of day. And that's the combination. And that door again has nothing behind it. We're concerned with this one. So I consider that the first chamber. But believe it or not, the game seems to disagree. These I also don't believe have anything behind them, but I haven't checked these. That is correct. Just a purple void. So, the issue we're going to run into here... Oh yeah, and the door closes behind you. But that does not make you trapped. So fret not. You can leave at any time. The issue we have here is that there are more stone sentinels. I don't think I made the wise choice of getting more sprint potions. So I'm a little Scrooged. I'll make sure I have all my bits and bobs on. So that's all the mana we're gonna get. So we pretty much have no choice but to try and aggro everybody. We're gonna take a beating, but no 2 ways around it. Luckily, they're a little bit slower than we are. That one kind of got confused. I don't know why I'm still running. We're gonna tank the hits while we take a sip. And better off just doing this again. Really, there's no two ways about it. The storm spell does the most damage per hit out of anything we have at this point. So we have no choice but to tank hits and rely on it. That's why it was kind of a boon for us to get all those extra health points from Darren in the beginning. We probably would have made do without it. So, notice, once again, we have 5 options. 4 of these options lead to absolutely nothing but an untimely demise. So, let's take a look at the next clue, which I don't remember what color it is. I think it's yellow. I, who was against the decision of the 3, built the first trap, and only I know the correct doorway. So, as you can see, this is considered the first trap. I have no idea why the first trap we encountered is not considered the first trap. But the clue to look at here is very unobvious. If you look very closely at the environment, you notice that all of these faces are slightly different. We have triangle eyes with long nose. I believe that's a trapezoid with short nose. Triangle eyes, short nose. Trapezoid eyes, medium nose. Triangle eyes, medium nose. And you might have noticed that on the back of all these stone tablets is something of a relief that looks like these doors. And the one referring to this trap is triangle eyes, medium nose. This clue I did not know about for years until someone, I think on my live streams a couple of years back, finally laid it out to me. That is my biggest gripe with a lot of Piranha Bytes' puzzles in these kind of dungeons, which is that they don't stick to a theme. Every single trap, every single puzzle kind of has a different rule. And without having a consistent... Like, puzzle games usually work on a sort of consistent rule set of its puzzles to make it more like you can kind of work it out. But every single Piranha Bytes puzzle that you run into, and you only run into them in major dungeons, has something different going on. Speaking of puzzles, I actually give Night of the Raven more credit than, not to spoil anything, but the end of Gothic II, where the dungeon and the puzzles are a lot less, let's say thought-provoking. At least there are rules in this one, and there are clues in the stone tablets. If you kind of clear your mind of anything and look for absolutely everything, you can kind of work it out. The final dungeon in this place, in this game, doesn't really work that way, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Anyway, we need to find the next one, which might be the blue one. Cardamon devised the second trap, and only he who follows the way of light to the end will reach the third chamber. So, torches are not really the greatest source of light for this, but if you look, this is kind of a classic, like Legend of Zelda type puzzle. It's all about the colors of the tile floors. We got 2 that are kind of greenish and one that is somewhat reddish. And given that this is the odd man out, let's follow the red path. And you have to make sure you follow it to the end, because if you don't, try to take a shortcut. Owie! And if you were to try and bum rush across it, that is a hell of a spike trap. I don't know why seeing that gives me massive anxiety. It's the sheer amount of spikes and the holes in the ground. What's that condition people have where they hate seeing things with lots of holes out like eyeballs? I don't remember what it's called. But I suppose theoretically you could just kind of jump across these. Nothing really stopping you from doing a hop. And another hop. Well, you can't hop those spikes. So there you go. Now, press on to this door, and it opens up for you. Deceptively, the fact that these don't open might make you think there's nothing behind them, kind of like the doors back there. That would be one of the greater secrets of this dungeon. Excuse me. Something I didn't even know about for a while until finally it dawned on me to try and click on these doors. And boy, was I surprised. But unfortunately, inside, well, you got more twats to deal with. Not just the rats. So I say we back off a bit. We get them crowded in the doorway so they can't all wail on us at once, which they probably still will. A lot of XP to be had from these dudes. I also love how they actually have a blood splatter texture. If you have the advanced gore enabled in the config files, which at this point I might get rid of, because that stuff lingers so much longer than it really ought to. Really does spoil the scenery after a while. Oh, I never got lockpicks. Let's go back and get some from... I suppose Fisk would have some. I think I broke my last one on the other side of the broken bridge in the last episode. So, BRB.
Show me.
Oh no. I think we bought out of stock. We have no choice but to buy this very heavily inflated parcel of lockpicks. So be it. We've accumulated enough here. I'll deal with that later. Let's have a nap while we're at it. Okay, let's be frugal with lockpicks from now on. Oh, that one didn't even need it. LOL. Yeah, there's some mighty fine stuff to miss out on, namely some high-level stone tablets. If you do not check out these corners here. So I highly recommend it. That is a fucking scream, if I've ever heard one. Alright, more stoners. Oh, wow. Animation canceled that one. I didn't realize you could do that. Apparently you can do it in the recovery of a spell. Fancy that. Ow, the punches. Well, that's gonna be my new trick. So long, bitches. I don't know why it never dawned on me to do that, because I've done the strafe trick to animation cancel everything so far. There you go, more exploits for you to bitch at me for using. The select few viewers who get real upset about that. Right, left, left, right. Right, left, left, right, right. Right, left, left, right, right, left, left. And we have a life 2, one-handed 3. Alright, let's top off. And step on through the dough. That's an unfortunate looking floor. Luckily, we're safe treading on it for now. But go for the very obvious safe spot in the middle. Trust me, you're gonna wanna. Radames!
My spirit has been held captive for eternity. At last I am free. The sword has a new bearer. The final chamber has been opened.
But the gate appears closed.
This is not the gate to the final chamber. This gate merely leads to the antechamber. The bearer has closed it behind him.
How do I open the gate?
Move one of the levers.
Anyone?
All of these levers open the gate.
Not all of the levers trigger the trap, right?
Yes, they do.
Well, then why even have more than one?
I don't believe you.
Yet I speak only the truth.
Your father built the trap. How would you know how it works?
Hohodron, I can still hear the pounding of the hammers on the other side of the gate. After so long a time, the sword showed me revenge for my failure.
You mean you have seen which lever is the right one?
I have long forgotten it.
Think!
It was so long ago.
None of these options really matter. As far as I know, there literally is not a single one, like you said the first time, not a single one that doesn't activate the trap. However, if I'm not mistaken, the one he does pull happens to be in a dead zone for the trap. Yes, indeed. So if you do feel compelled to touch it yourself, you can use that one. We've already got this here, so might as well have him take all the risk.
If you have the strength, sink it in the depths of the sea.
Obviously, Raven wasn't in a chatty mood with that fellow, so he just sacrificed one of his henchmen. Anyway, I accidentally closed it again. Look at these creepers peeking over the wall. I never even noticed them before. They keep watch for eternity. Not sorry to do that to you again, buddy. I don't remember if he does the thing that Quarhodun does when you give him a whack. He sure does. Good to know. Not that it really means much. So, anywho. That was the antechamber, but apparently there's an antechamber to the antechamber. And more of these twats. Do the usual rigmarole. Whack down. Oh god, evade. What am I doing? How you like that, losers? The thing I hate the most about torches is I don't understand why they programmed a different strafe animation, and especially such a useless one, just for when you're holding the torch. I mean, as long as you're holding it away from you, strafing doesn't really put you any closer to it, so what the hell are you so worried about? And there is a way to put torches away, I'm sure I showed it before, but as long as you have another one in your inventory and you just try to use it again, don't have to drop the torch every time. I'm sure that blew somebody's mind. Alright. Well, I think we're at the final showdown.
Hey!
Look who has come. My master warned me that Adenos would send his henchmen, but I had not expected that you would appear so soon. Well, since you were so quick, I shall give you a quick death.
You sold your soul to Beliar.
For a good price. I will command his armies as a general. And what about you? Do you know how much your soul is worth?
I'm only doing what has to be done.
Listen to him. You have sent me a humble servant, Adenos.
Are you sure that I am a servant of Adenos?
What? What are you saying?
Don't you consider it possible that I could be a servant of Adenos?
Nonsense.
Maybe I also serve Beliar, or only myself.
Well, in that case, you are not even a worthy opponent for me.
I've had it. Let us begin.
Are you in such a hurry to die? Well, since you insist.
Well, that was one of the worst final showdown exchanges I've ever heard. Interesting.
Shit, I'm out of here. I'm gonna rip you to pieces.
That didn't quite work. So yeah, fear doesn't really work on this fellow. I don't remember if the door closes on the way out of here. It does, in fact. Hey! There he is. Alright, so the issue with old Raven here is that, well, our spells really don't have a whole lot of impact on him, so we have a couple of strategies here. Easiest strategy is, our go-to one with the skeleton. Ow! He shocked me from all the way over there. Because, believe it or not, the skeleton can practically solo this dude. Just like he can with trolls. I suppose an alternative would have been, Dragon Snapper. Or to just freeze and keep spamming them with hailstorms. Uh-oh. I may actually pull this off. Yep. So, interesting thing about his weapon is when he hits you or you hit him, there's a chance of a lightning strike kind of whacking you back. But here's what I mean. See, the Ice Lance barely does shit for the amount of mana it costs.
I'm gonna rip you to pieces.
So hit him with that once more. This might be enough right here. You know, something just occurred to me. When you kill Raven, it shows that, whole cutscene of all the stone sentinels exploding. And if I'm not mistaken, the game actually gives you the XP for all stone sentinels that are still alive after the cutscene. Because they all get a script to drop dead at once, and it gives you the XP for it, I believe. Somebody might need to double check that for me. But that meant all of the ones that we killed back out there could have just evaded them and then gone back and mopped up the loot afterwards. Wasted a lot of time, mana, and took a lot of punches for no good reason. Now, if you want to, you can just head back out. But actually, give us a convenient little shortcut here. One of the things that bugs me about that cutscene is it shows this, like, pillar of light coming out of the pyramid on the other side of the portal. Which I'm wondering why that pyramid is so significant. Obviously it's a monument of some kind, but why did the bolt of lightning come from that in order to strike Raven down? I don't really get it. Also, the fact that Raven's death is what kind of stopped all the calamities here is a bit odd. I guess Adanos really trusts our integrity once we've gotten our hands on this number here. So, the Claw of Beliar is the weapon we've heard so much about. So very tempting. Ow! I was just looking at it.
Hey, you! I did it. Raven is finished.
That means you've given Beliar a swift kick. Then you'll be moving on.
My job in this valley is done. I could use a few days' rest.
Yeah, you're constantly on the move, aren't you? Have a good journey.
Who knows? Maybe we'll run into each other again.
Who knows? There will be lots of gates and passages for you to go through. And you're bound to find me on one of them.
Oh, we sure are. We'll be standing at a gate to a castle, and all this friendly goodbyes will be swiftly forgotten. So you threaten to kill us and call us a bastard. Because Gothic 3 just cannot keep characters straight. So yeah, that's a bit of a letdown. Thoris, we leave on such friendly and equal terms with him. You know, given our relationship in the last game. Kinda was a little heartwarming. Have a moment like that, and then it all gets spoiled in the next game. But that be how it is. So, really it for the valley here.
That'll only cause more trouble.
None of these bandito fellows have anything more for us. Nobody really comments on Raven's demise. I'm not even sure the gate guard leading on the way in has anything to say. Oh, and one of the things I think I forgot to do was tell Scatty about Bloodwind's death, which I think he's one of the only characters besides Thoris and this guy who has something to say about it.
Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
Yeah. So he's run afoul. I don't think I had the chance to show that with Henry, but anybody who has like a gate guard script has a chance to have that bug where they just say, leave me alone as you try and talk to them. Somebody, I think, once told me that how that actually gets triggered, but I do not recall.
Bloodwind is dead.
There aren't many people I'd wish that on, but Bloodwind is better off dead.
Let's deal.
That's it. Well, alrighty then. Let's not sell this. 75 gold for literally the most dangerous relic we've ever gotten our hands on. Silver plates and chalices we gotta keep for Helvor, the fishmonger. I'll clear out inventory later. That's the kind of thing I do off screen. I've been wondering lately, I have a tendency to do housekeeping kind of things off screen, which includes often going around grinding XP on enemies. But I never, like, complete quests or explore new areas off screen. Now, I've spoken with some people who really don't like that approach because they like to see literally 100% of a walkthrough or live stream or whatever. Always struck me as odd because I'm very different. My old videos, I literally only showed everything just out of laziness because I just never edited anything. I never planned anything. So I'll just record video and kind of post it wholesale. But in these walkthroughs, I try to keep things on task more. Because a lot of people get bugged by me stopping and talking like this right now, what I'm doing. But it's a lot worse if I guess because I could kind of fill the gaps. You know, anytime I had to stop and talk, I could go out and twat some things out in the forest, but kind of breaks the flow. But I was just kind of curious what people's thoughts were on that. Like, do you prefer to see 100% of everything? Or do you prefer people who kind of edit out and trim the fat, as it were? Because regardless, you're getting the latter. Because that's just how I do things, and that's the kind of content I prefer to watch, so that's the kind of content I prefer to make.
The earthquakes have stopped, and as I can see, you're still among the living. Does this mean that your mission was successful?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Raven is dead.
Then it is over. Thank Adanos. You have done well, my son. We're deep in your debt. You have snatched a powerful weapon away from evil and restored the balance in this part of the world. When the earthquakes died away, we discussed what should happen now, and we have reached a conclusion. Go and take the Claw of Beliar. May it be yours to bear from now on. In your hand, it may prove a mighty ally for us. Use it wisely, my son. May Adanos help you. We shall remain here and see to it that the temple is restored to its old brilliance. Only Mixar is already on his way to Khorinis to support Vatras. Vatras has been alone in the city for too long.
So, I'm not sure that, wielding the Claw of Beliar, if it's such a powerful, influential artifact, I think it would kind of be like the one ring to rule them all, as in it would corrupt even the noblest of hearts. But, I guess not.
I have taken the Claw of Beliar, but I am
Beliar?
unable to wear it.
The Claw of Beliar is a very special weapon. It has its own will and consciousness. You, who now possess this mighty weapon, are its lord and master. It is a part of you, and will adapt itself to your capabilities. However, it will not do that of its own free will. Only Beliar himself can force it to obey you.
What can I do with the weapon?
That lies in your hands. You've conquered the weapon, and you are now its master. I can only recommend to you what you can do with it. Either you give it to me, and I shall see to it that it can do no further harm, or you put its power to use and wield it in battle.
Couldn't you keep the weapon safe?
If you give it to me, then I shall render it harmless, so that it can no longer be misused. So consider well what you will do.
And why should Beliar help me?
Only
Why
a prayer
does he
to
pronounce
Beliar
it as an
can
H
achieve
now?
that. But be careful. Beliar is malicious. If you arouse his wrath, then he'll let you feel it.
I see.
I have no idea why suddenly he pronounced it as Beliar, and not Beliar. I feel like somebody might have smudged his script. So, if you give it to his I almost call him Satras. If you give it to Satras, then he will literally just make it vanish from the game. So, we don't want to do that.
What will you do now?
We shall stay here and help the temple regain its former glory. All too long have its walls been in this lamentable condition. As far as you are concerned, my son, I am glad to see that I was not mistaken about you. You are the preserver of the balance. There is no longer any doubt about that. Without your courage and strength, the island of Khorinis would have drowned. We thank you and will honor you in our thoughts. Devote yourself now to the other tasks that lie before you, and return this world to balance and peace. Now go and fulfill your destiny, Preserver. Our prayers will be with you.
So I think
May
a lot of
Adanos
people
protect you.
kind of see this point as being where the themes of the story jumped the shark a bit and kind of went all prophesized hero on you. But really, they did kind of pull that in Gothic 1 as well, when Zardas went through the whole spiel about the holy foe that the orcs were afeared of, and vaguely hinting that you might have been the one. So that theme's always kind of been in their head. That's why it came back in Gothic 3. It was never really my biggest gripe with it, but I can definitely agree that, well, did not wrap up in any satisfying manner. Now, we don't need to take off the bandit armor when dealing with these guys, but might as well represent. The last person who cares about anything will be Greg. She did assign us the task of finding out what the bandits are up to, and we never really reported in on that. But he
Happens sooner or later.
will certainly be glad to hear that Raven is deceased.
He really should have known.
So much for Raven.
Well, I'll be. That's unexpected. Caught him with his pants down, did you? That's certainly worth 500 gold pieces to me. You're quite the daredevil. Carry on like that.
That always felt stingy to me, but to be honest, well, first of all, coming from Greg, that's a hell of a reward. But also, nobody else gave us anything tangible for it.
The bandits have found a gold mine.
I knew it. That's why they came here. Nobody would volunteer to live in this monster-ridden bog. Good work. Here, I've cut something for you.
And we got a ring. A ring of the warriors, I think. Or is it another priesty ring? No, we already had 2 priesty rings. So the amulet of the priest is actually in one of the treasure sites, which I will have to get to as the,
No idea. You tell
what do you call it? The interim episode between this one and the next major series one. Before we go any further, one thing I've been forgetting to do all this time. We need this back. Pay a high price for it because we keep fucking that up.
If he doesn't see that, I can't help him.
And believe it or not, I'm actually going to sell this now because we don't really have any more encounters to deal with before getting better armor. Hang on to Betty, even though I don't think we're going to use it for anything.
That's been known a long time.
Things would have turned out differently if it hadn't been for us.
That'll do for now.
I'm telling you anything new.
So, there's a few places we can go as far as... You care that we dealt with the bandits? Nah. Oh, bones. You're good for nothing. I like you better than Risen 3. There are a few shrines to Beliar around. It's the closest one to where we just were. Now, the interesting thing about the Claw of Beliar is it will actually align itself to the combat style that you are most skilled in. So, if you have higher one-handed weapon skill than two-handed, it'll be a one-handed weapon. If you have higher two-handed, it'll be the other way around. But we are a mage. We don't use weapons, so what does that mean? Well, improve Claw of Beliar. He steals 15 life energy to improve it, and kind of recombobulate it. But for mages, it actually turns into one of 4 runes. I say one of 4. It actually has, I believe, 1 or 2 different spells it can be, depending on the circle of magic. In this case, Steal Energy is actually one of the best things we can get. There'll be more spells later on that might be a little more circumstantially useful. But I'll be honest, I haven't played around with them a whole lot. But the interesting thing about the Steal Energy spell, for 30 mana, deals 100 damage, with a duration of 9 seconds. Now think about that. 100 damage over 9 seconds. That's not I don't think that's 100 damage over the course of 9 seconds. I believe that's 100 damage per second for 9 seconds. You notice it just says damage. I don't believe it actually deals a natural damage type. So I think it might even deal damage, full damage, with no resistances.
Just you wait, you son bitch.
But you notice what it did there. Depleted all his life energy.
Nothing to be had there.
And took him down to 1 health, but it didn't kill him.
I'm staying out of it.
So you can imagine there are going to be a lot of occasions to make that useful.
No idea. You tell me.
I don't remember if they stay perma-mad.
I'm staying out of it.
Hey, you!
All right, you win. What do you want?
Nope, they don't stay perma-mad. So ain't that nice.
I never knew that.
Now, you might be tempted to try and use this to beat up
Practice more.
merchants and steal all their inventory, but remember, if you ever knock down a merchant and steal anything from them,
And there's more, believe
you don't have access to their merchant inventory that way, but it will decimate their entire store and they won't stock anything anymore. It's really weird, really unfortunate. But you can certainly use that to mug a bunch of people, especially in areas where nobody really cares.
Nobody wants to
What the issue is that you might think it makes it a lot easier to do duels against people like Ulrich or people on the mercenaries farm. But the way it works is it actually, when they get hit by the spell, it de-aggroes them. And when they come out of the animation, it treats it as if you attack them in sort of a neutral circumstance. So that's pretty unfortunate because it'll break the duel script and make you the aggressor. But at this point, there really isn't a whole lot aren't really any duels that work that way for us anymore. We aren't really concerned with it. We can definitely put that to good use in some upcoming situations. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've had a very productive day. And I have to apologize, as usual, for the fact that these take some time to get out there. But that be the way it is. I'm simply a busy man. But if you think about it, there really isn't a whole lot left in this series. We have a few dragons to kill. And from there, it's just kind of a mad dash towards the end. I mean, there's some side stuff that can take us quite some time if we really want to get involved in. And I do have a lot... Well, not really a lot, but a few things to show off for the 2 other guilds, which I really need to get caught up on. Those are well behind. But I'll sort that out. No big deal. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very kindly for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to follow on Twitch for live stream shenanigans. Or hop over on Discord where we just kind of talk nonsense all day. Otherwise, have yourselves a wonderful night. Stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, and see you next time.